So Lithuanian food is largely very good. It can be a little on the blander side. They they don't really like spicy food. They don't like very sugary foods. We would make cookies for members sometimes. I remember once we made snickerdoodles, and so we gave members some, and they ate like half a cookie, and that was enough sugar for them. Like they couldn't take any more. They're like, "Oh, it's really good, but that's all I need." And we're like, "Oh, well, we ate like 6 each before we came here." But and so their desserts aren't very sugary, which it just takes a little getting used to. That when you hear someone ask if you want dessert, and your expectation is like this very sugary chocolate cake, and then they bring out something that's more fruit based than what you would normally expect. But the majority of the food that they eat for their meals is uses a lot of potatoes, and then there's typically some meat involved. So probably the most famous traditional Lithuanian dish is cepelinai, which are like potato dumplings, and they're delicious. There's a couple different ways that you can cook them. You can either there's like a ball of meat then wrapped in potato, and so they're either boiled or fried. Boiled is the more traditional way, but fried can be a little easier to get used to. The texture can be a little slimy at first, but then they'll usually put a like gravy and sour cream sauce on the top, and so those are very good. They also do a lot of potato pancakes, where they'll just fry potatoes and then usually eat them with sour cream. And there's there's a soup that they'll eat in spring and summer months that so it's a cold soup. It's called shalty barshe, which is like cold borscht, basically. So it's beets and cucumbers, and then kefiras, which is basically like buttermilk, and then they'll usually sprinkle some dill in there, and that is also very good. There'll be potatoes that you'll eat with it, and so there's several different ways that they do that. Sometimes they'll just cut up and then fry the chunks of potato. Occasionally they'll give you mashed potatoes to eat with it. And yeah, so that soup's also very good. Again, can take a little getting used to, especially because it's bright pink, like Pepto-Bismol pink. And so when you get like your bowl, it looks a little shocking, but it tastes very good. And then there's a Lithuanian drink that's based with like rye. It's like drinking rye bread, basically. It's called gira. It's like Russian kvass. And so people either love it or hate it. And I really like it. But I made some for my family when I got home, and they all thought it was disgusting. So it's not for everyone. And you have to like look at the labels because occasionally there can be alcohol in it. So if you're buying it, make sure that you read what the ingredients are so you're not going to get drunk drinking it. Lithuanians don't eat a ton of food, and they'll typically buy their food day by day. So every morning they'll go to the market or the little store that's nearby and buy the things they need for that day, and then go back to their apartment, which results in a lot of confused looks while we were shopping, because we would go and buy our food for an entire week, and we were buying much more than they would per day then. And so we would have just these massive amounts of food that we were getting, and people would have this like shocked, concerned expression on their face, like, how are you going to eat all of that today? Like, do you understand how things work here? But after a while, I mean, if you went at like the same time, then people usually, there'd be the same people there, and then they just kind of knew that these people in their white shirts and ties and name tags were buying enormous amounts of food. And they just chalk it up to us being these obese Americans that needed to eat a lot or something.